So, okay, on to the Cam James story about Dr. Rashad Richey. We're not going to do a super deep dive, but as you know, I worked at the Young Turks and helped organize a union there, making the documentary Tell the Truth Cenk about it. TellTheTruthCenk.com for more, or watch the major chunks of it on here on my YouTube channel, plus a whole bunch of other videos if you really want to torture yourself the way I have been. Boy, join me in overexposure to those toxins. But so I had never heard of Cam James. He's all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's this video that comes out because of obviously my kind of involvement within the Young Turks sphere of coverage and of my beat, as you know, on Twitter and on YouTube. Although I don't always do a great job of it, but is to I kind of keep track of the union story and some of the TYT drama stuff. The Vanguard community is up to speed, or tracks that stuff pretty closely as well, and it turns up over all around the internet. The Young Turks has done some positives over the years, and they've been around forever. And there's also a lot about the way that they operate, or the way that some of the takes that they have and the positions that have been held or used to be held, or tactics and strategies. And there's a huge drama bubble kind of all the time, and inevitably I think over 20 years or something you can't go through 20 years of something like that, especially with a highly charged political topics and highly emotional and highly expressive hosts, strong big issues, strong emotions, ambitious CEO and different funding rounds, and all sorts of reasons. Inevitably, something is going to be maybe looked at with less favorability. And Cenk he probably would hold this as a point of pride. It seems to piss off everybody on all sides of the entire political spectrum. It's just my project, of course, is about working at the Young Turks and having to deal with exploitative working conditions. So. But it's also about misinformation, and it's about trust and credibility and media and journalism ethics, because the Young Turks, put out statements that said that the union started at TYT was started by outsiders in order to harm Cenk's run for Congress. Bullshit. Not true. Totally a lie. They based that off the fact that IATSE, the union we were joining, endorsed the boss's opponent in the race, and that's a detail that I go through in the film and on Substack. And in the context of his campaign, some paranoia was totally justifiable, but they didn't do any fact checking, and so credibility is a huge part of the film, and it's one of the things that I hope to have conversations about with others. But anyway, Cam James comes out of nowhere. I hadn't heard of him before. To him in his life, he hasn't come out of nowhere to me. And, but because he decided, so he does like, I guess he used to be a rapper. He's really talented though. I haven't looked too deeply, but he does a lot of sort of, investigative. He describes himself here on YouTube as a filmmaker, occasional journalist, equal opportunity, grifter, hater, stay healthy. Great advice, Cam. I wish I'd seen that earlier. It might not have herniated my disc. Where were you, buddy? But, so all of a sudden there's this video about Dr. Rashad Richey, who hosts the show Indisputable with Dr. Richey on the Young Turks network. And they've been around for quite a while, or meaning he's been part of the Young Turks for some time. So, we were unionizing in 2019-ish and then into 2020, which is when I got laid off. So he was I think he was with the company around that time. I don't quite remember, but he's remote. He wasn't ever at the office. I don't even know if he's ever, I'm sure he's had Cenk. I think he and Cenk have been on air a few times, but he doesn't appear on the show. He might have at some point. I don't really, I'm not trying to say that's good or bad, but he always seemed like his own thing. Like he had an operation. I think he does radio somewhere else, maybe TV of some kind. He's a very polished looking guy. And, but I never dialed in much. I was obviously aware of it, but never paid too close attention. Of course, in the comment threads and the chats and stuff, you see people that are fans and would watch it as part of their diet if they're consuming, multiple shows on the Young Turks. You got Damage Report in the morning, Dr. Richey in the middle of the day, and then the TYT main show in the afternoon. So it's a fairly substantial part of the operation, though, in terms of its footprint within the company. It's like daily, and they get clips, and I think his channel has over 1 million subscribers, so it's not small. And this video comes out where Cam James has, actually, I already opened it. This is the opening. We're going to play just small pieces. I didn't even really pick out moments, but just to give you a sense for what it is. It's his description here, or the title is Exposing Rashad Richey, Part 1, The GOAT of Fake Degrees. GOAT is all caps, and as you know, that means greatest of all time. So this whole thing surrounds this concept or this world of diploma mills. And these are alleged. Let me just say that, I guess. I don't know. It seems pretty cut and dry, or seems fairly clear. Although it is partly why this diploma mill works. And I've been paying pretty close attention to this since it came out about 10 days ago, maybe or so. December 30th is when he posted this. Today is the 10th. Okay. Is that the murkiness of the details is kind of part of the grift. You know, if you can just have your credentials listed, people don't really go searching and looking for stuff. And I guess there's been a kind of a small cottage industry, is that even the right phrase, of people looking at this. There's something called the PhD investigator. There's another guy named Johnny Walker Dredd or something who's, I guess, makes videos about Dr. Richey. There's also another expose by a person called Nate the Lawyer, if you want to look that up, if you're really interested in this rabbit hole. But Cam James is, I got to get that. I'm sure he's used to it. But his expose got, it's already at 175,000 views. So really jealous. My first video on my TYT documentary only has like 30 something thousand. I thought it would have millions, like within a few weeks of posting it. But so, you know, it was over 100,000 when I first saw it, I think. And so obviously this was getting quite a lot of attention. So let's just play this and just see what he says. This is maybe Cam can do a better job talking than I can.
Last episode of Deep Dives, I presented the top 5 red flags that lets you know someone is a FUBU scammer, a term I coined 2 years ago to describe black people using their culture and identity to run manipulative schemes on people who look like them. Sometimes what they're doing is illegal. Sometimes it isn't. In that video, and in the Deep Dives episode I made about him, I called out former preacher and MLM consultant, Dr. Myron Golden, who currently sells business coaching to aspiring business owners and grifters for getting his advanced degree from a church. Believe it or not, clout goblins can get a whole lot worse than him. This time, I'm talking about Rashad Richey, JD, PhD, EDD, MBA, and LLM. Progressive YouTube commentator, working with the Young Turks via his show Indisputable, president and chief editor at large for Rollin' Out, one of the most prominent culture and media brands out of Atlanta, director and professor of business at Morris Brown College, department chair at Beulah Heights University, senior advisor at the Carter Center, and professor of physics at Paris Graduate School, just to name a few. There was at least one fake school in that sentence. He was awarded the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award by President Obama and claims that he invented a patented device that can cure Alzheimer's disease.
We're going to look at that in a bit. It's amazing. I want to do a deeper dive on it, actually. My brother's a real neuroscientist. I think I said that earlier, right? Like he's a professor at Virginia Tech. He just transferred to a different school. He teaches neuroscientists. He trains PhDs. Like he's you know, we're both old. We're both in our late 40s. He's been publishing in science journals since his 20s, and it took him like 10 years or something like that past college, past his regular undergrad, which was in like evolution, ecology, biology, chemistry, like some bunch of shit. I don't know, chemistry. So he's a biologist, but his specialty is neurobiology. And yeah, I watched him work incredibly hard, and he's a really brilliant guy and worked his ass off at it. I've been to a bunch of his labs over the years. He's lived in different parts of the country. You know, he's a legit dude, you know, and even after he got his PhD, he had to do another like 2 years of postdoc or something. And then it was a very difficult process to get hired as a professor. It's a, you know, challenging, competitive field. There aren't that many neuroscience professors. So the pool's, you know, there's probably a smaller community than, you know, the pickleball podcasting societies. Why did I say that? But so I'm actually going to have him, or hopefully get him, you know, he's a very busy guy, but I'd like to get his perspective on this video that we're going to look at in a little bit. this quantum brain entangling brain thing. Like, I can't wait to see what my brother thinks about it. It's this crazy video. Here, I'll just play it. I want to find one of the blue brains. Yeah, look at this. Like, this is in a video titled "Revolutionizing Neural Enhancement: Dr. Rashad Richey's Quantum Brain Device Unveiled." I've jumped ahead to 6 minutes.
Architecture. 1. The core layer. 2. Laboratory grown quantum coherent crystal. 3.
Laboratory grown quantum coherent crystal.
Thin layer of programmed nanocrystals infused in soft material cotton with B12.
Programmed nanocrystals with B12. Like, I have to see what my brother thinks about this, because this is what neuroscience is it's projections of brains, and it's usually blue or greenish, and when it turns evil, it turns red. No, this is not. They're nerds, man. They spend their time soaking, little, meaning like they're chemists basically. They yeah.
Advanced B12 delivery. The study will investigate a multi-layer quantum delivery system that theoretically achieves.
Look at these guys reaching for bubbling blue flasks with blue liquid and white. Look, that's obviously dry ice causing that. Like, this is. I can tell you how my brother's going to react to it, but obviously, it'll be much more entertaining to see him do it than me simulate it. It's a helmet that is supposed to cure or treat Alzheimer's. What the fuck? Come on, man. Hey, maybe there's something to it. For all I know, I might have to issue a correction and an apology for this. Maybe my brother's going to say, Hank, you're exposing the secret. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened. All right, so back to Cam. Let's just play a little bit more here. Thanks for letting me use some of your stuff here, Cam. Thank you.
Beating an MIT research team to the punch. Some of y'all have already noticed some problems. And I haven't even gotten to the punchline yet. As of when I'm publishing this, considering he invents a new degree every couple of years, Richey claims he's earned 5 doctorates and 5 master's degrees in 10 areas of study. I'm concerned. I could end the video there, but he's actually claimed more than that. More than one of his supposed degrees have been wiped off of his LinkedIn. This is where I have to bring up a couple other people whose work I reviewed alongside my own independent research to make this video. One is the fake PhD investigator.
Okay, so he goes into some of his sourcing, and he does a really deep dive. It's a 30-minute video. Highly recommend you go check it out. Just for one more thing, let's click on. There's fake schools. There's it's all laid out here in his in the description. Yeah, we'll just jump ahead here. So, presidential lifetime achievement. Let's just see what this one is. Okay, right here. We'll just start it from here and just see what this is. I'm a little bit lost in what that award was because there was some context I didn't have for you.
More accolades to his name than Rashad has, somehow.
So he's referring to some dude who's like a conservative grifter who is associated with one of the institutions that Dr. Rashad is also involved with.
This bio is in the Hall of Fame of overcompensation. I promise y'all are not ready for this. Kersey has a stack of overlapping doctorates, chancellor and professor positions at the same fake colleges Rashad Richey got his degrees from, light bulb, archbishop positions, and he named himself royalty in Europe. Published hella books himself via the European American press, has multiple knighthoods, is a colonel, admiral, and lieutenant colonel in several American states, and got a Lifetime Achievement Award from President Obama.
I can understand colonel, but going admiral is that's just silly. What are you gonna do? Steer a boat? Tell a bunch of boats where to go? Give me a break. Colonel, sure. Who doesn't want a discount at KFC? I get it. Of course you would lie about that. We all do. We all put on a Colonel Sanders outfit and go in there and pretend to be the CEO and steal 16 pounds of frozen French fries. Of course, we all do that. Who doesn't? Do you know how awesome a 20-pound bag of frozen nuggets is? Come on. Frozen chicken fingers? Okay, sorry.
In 2014. Surprise, surprise. Quick note on this award, since we've seen it pop up for both of these people so far. It was established by George W. as part of the President's Volunteer Service Award Program and has several levels based on the hours you've contributed to community service through various programs. 4,000 hours is all you need to get a Lifetime Achievement Award, meaning hundreds of thousands of people have technically qualified. If anyone brags about this, like Richey has on multiple occasions, it's a massive red flag.
So it was a little unclear before we got to that because of my bullshit interjecting. But yeah, he received an award from current U.S. President Joe Biden and former U.S. President Barack Obama. He seems to be highlighting something. It's describing Dr. Richey's background, I believe, from the Egypt Independent, whatever that is. But basically saying like it's not that big a deal. There's lots of people that get this. It's just, you know.
David E. Taylor, the scamming pastor I roasted in a prior episode, claimed to have one of these too. He got
Interesting.
arrested for fraud. Stop the cap. It's not the same thing as the
And forced labor. Whoa, got to look into that.
American Medal of Freedom, which is what y'all are trying to do. If you want more info on Kersey's lies, this article goes into much more detail.
There's an article called on Swamp. It said the talented Mr. Kersey, the Tory pressure group, the diploma mill, and the Tesco tax manager. Just saying that for the audio only listeners. Thank you guys. So it's excellent work here. Go watch it. The comments are fascinating too. And obviously this piqued my interest. I was like, wow, this is kind of interesting. You know, like I said, or I don't remember if I did, but I didn't work with Dr. Richey at TYT at all. So I don't have direct stuff about that other than the ways that this whole thing overlaps with, you know, what is media companies' responsibilities to its audience, what kind of respect is communicated by how they source their information and their hosts and their own, and protect their own journalistic credibility. Because my project, the film, you know, Tell the Truth, Cenk, it directly is impugning Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur for failing to fact check the information that was available to them about the origin of the Young Turks Union, the one that I started with my friends. My friends and I started. It originated actually a year prior due to a different set of exploitative employment practices. But, you know, the information according to TYT is that, and this is still their official story, as we saw when Cenk had was confronted about it on Jubilee last year, that it was a political ploy by his opponents to hurt his run for Congress, and that it was an intimidation tactic. And he kind of makes it seem like he was both victimized and the hero, in that he had to do the union busting, that's my way of saying it, not his, in order to confirm that it wasn't an intimidation campaign as he thought it was. As if hiring professional union busting law firms and going through a 2-month aggressive union busting process using all kinds of classic union busting tactics is the appropriate journalistic technique for fact-checking something. That's his story. That's their official version. There's another way to do fact-checking, which is to talk to the sources, is to reach out to the originators of the story. You know, as one of my lines is like, not all stories are easy to fact-check in journalism and in this kind of thing, but very few stories are this easy to fact-check. They were in the same building, the same room as original sources, or they could have reached out to me. There's no reason I wouldn't have been a trustworthy source about it, especially after I put out tweets and after I was quoted in the New Republic article a whole bunch. They were motivated to deceive. They were motivated to mislead their audience. As I would say, Dr. Richey seems to be. Now, let's give the guy some good faith, or at least, he deserves to respond and have his voice heard. Obviously, he's going to, we don't know. You never know if Cam James is maybe he's the one who's got all the, stuff that's made up. Maybe, seems to not be. But Dr. Richey, and just a little background is Cam said that he reached out to TYT 2 days before to inform them of this project and to get a response if they could, and there was no response. But he suspected, I think he's correct, I'm kind of paraphrasing Cam here, is that because Dr. Richey had a reaction ready within 24 hours, it seems like, his tipping them off is why they were ready to produce this video right away. So this is within 24 hours. We're not going to watch much of this, but Dr. Richey then comes on and has a response.
I didn't want to have to do this, but it looks like on this New Year's Eve, it is required. I've been a college professor since 2016. I have worked hard to come from foster care and gang life to make something of myself. Individuals who operated outside of good faith decided to, in bad faith, a few years ago, publish untrue statements about me, affiliating me with colleges I never went to, and claiming I had no actual degrees. It is insane. But today, everybody is put on notice. For those of you who follow me, you already know what's up. So let's first start here. Clark Atlanta University. I have a doctoral degree from Clark Atlanta University, which is a research university in Atlanta, Georgia.
So, okay. This is a big knot. There's a lot of details in terms of all those degrees that he's got. So any one of them could be, you know, take up a whole bunch of time just researching because it gets kind of muddy. From what I understand, though, and Cam James has said this, that this is a legit degree. There's a proper educational institution. And this, I think you get an EDD, like a doctorate in education or something, and that permits you to put the moniker, what do they call that, signifier or something, doctor. So calling him Dr. Richey is fair. I guess he deserves to be called doctor if that's what he insists, because he has this legitimate degree. And maybe it'll shake out. Maybe the Young Turks is investigating and producing a response that's going to verify everything and prove everything that's being claimed by Cam and others that it's not accurate. But this one does seem to be legit. And he does, you know, it's worth pointing that out. That's also sort of what's kind of wacky about this is just like, what's wrong with this? This plus a bachelor's and maybe a one master, like just be this guy. Cause he does news commentary. They do Karen videos, you know, reaction videos. There's actually a really interesting article that someone wrote on Medium that we're going to, I'll share with you in a little bit, that sort of talks about a lot of that. You know, you don't need quantum physics degrees and Juris Doctorates, or if I don't think he even has a Juris Doctorate. There's a whole bunch of stuff to go on with the way the legal system accredit, or, you know, valid, whether you qualify to practice in different parts of the countries or different countries. There's civil and there's common law, which are two different types. Or I don't know. Anyway, you don't need all that shit just to do a YouTube channel and to be a radio guy or whatever. You know, what's with all the, you know, so this probably would have been sufficient. Why bother with all the other stuff? But so Dr. Richey came out, replied with his responses, and this all was within 24 hours. And so let's see here. You can see the peaks on the watch time chart, or, you know, info at the bottom. So we'll go to here. Now he's talking about Dartmouth. Oh, goddamn.
Water.
Fucking ads. These ads are so annoying. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I just wish I knew if it was skip. It's just it's the unknowing part of, okay.
Many are shocked to know that I was accepted at Dartmouth College and enrolled, and currently a student at Dartmouth College, in particular, the School of Medicine.
It says, Dear Rashad, congratulations. You have been admitted to Dartmouth's MS in Implementation Science program at the Geisel School of Medicine, is what he's showing on screen. So, true, maybe? Is he a trustworthy source for this stuff? I think after looking into it all, I don't think so. But, you know, some of this might be legit. It's hard to say. Again, the comments are interesting. Some, you know, a lot of kind of simple responses, but there's also plenty of thoughtful answers and people who have advanced degrees that talk about how hard they worked and why didn't I just pay for mine? like this guy seems to have done. Let's just jump ahead a little.
Covered the
this is titled Dr. Richey's University Degrees are accredited, validated, and confirmed.
Interdisciplinary analysis.
Oh, this is his published research. Published is in air quotes there.
S2, which is one of the largest research universities in France.
Sorry, back up.
Hopefully I'll be finished in about a year and a half. There's more. I also hold a master's in agronomical physics.
Agronomical
Physics from the University of Renaissance. They have a partnership with the University of Rennes too, which is one of the largest research universities in France. My master's thesis, which is double-blind, peer-reviewed, and published, covered the interdisciplinary analysis of Earth's geomagnetic quantum field, a study of human physiology and agronomy. Agronomy or agronomical science is the science of earth agriculture.
All right.
My particular program dealt with earth agriculture in the context of human physiology and the interactive elements involved. I made a outside of mainstream conclusion.
So he does this for a half hour. He talks about all these different degrees he's got. I don't know. He didn't exactly debunk stuff. I mean, it's not like he said, here's what he said, and then here's what's wrong. Here's what he said, here's what's wrong. Here's what he said, here's what's wrong. Here's the proof. Here's the sources. This is credible. Here's what can't. It wasn't that. It was just kind of, this is what I have sort of stuff. So let's just hit the ending here.
To Renaissance and was able to obtain my Doctor of Jurisprudence there, which qualifies me to take the bar in pretty much any state I choose to under the FLE licensing program per the ABA. Once again, bunch of certifications, other qualifying degrees. I finished my bachelor's at Beulah Heights University. One person said, he doesn't even have a bachelor's degree. You're right, I have two. I have a bachelor's in religious studies and I have another one in applied psychology. All right.
I feel like all Americans have a bachelor's in religious studies. It's just nightmare-ass fucking society, right? Whether you want one or not, you're forced to live with these. Okay, sorry, that's my own. Okay.
My brother, I'm sorry I had to have you to sit through all that. I'm doing this one damn time.
It's all
one
good,
time.
man.
That's it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Completely. It's all good. Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, like, you one of the people that I legitimately look up to and admire, and for two main reasons. One, I think that just as someone who continuously strives and continuously keeps your ambition and vigor for life alive.
This is Jackson White. He's a contributor to TYT. He's been on with Cenk a whole bunch of times. He does stuff on Rebel HQ. I think he's also on this space, actually.
For me, that's important as someone who also, my aspirations and the path for my career and what I want to make out of my purpose is the most important thing to me. And I think that often people feel like it's too late or like they're too old to keep that part of them alive. So I think that that's very inspirational. And also through lots of hard work and tribulations, you're just a better person than I am in a lot of ways. So it's just something to work towards. And I've always admired that about you a lot, because for me, success is not of question. That's I'm gonna be successful, but I don't have to be a good person. So I think that that's something that is very inspirational about you.
Brother, I find you to be equally as inspirational. And I want to say this to everyone.
Okay, there we go.
Let nobody limit who you are. You are limitless. I am not your competition. I'm an example that it can be done. You are more than just a physical body. You are limitless in mind. What your goals are, you can achieve.
Nope.
Nope. I don't go to schools or colleges to obtain degrees. I go there to obtain education.
I went there for the LAN parties, man. Warcraft. I couldn't believe they had T1 lines. It was amazing.
And so you'll see someone cite that I have a Bible college degree from 20 years ago. I do. Because at that time I was a youth minister. But I don't list them as qualifying degrees for science. I would never do that. So I'm not responding to all the ridiculous stories of people writing articles that may have associated me with one university or the other that I just don't have any affiliation with. But what I wanted you to know is that this guy right here that comes here every day, loves you, will advocate for you. Obviously, I'm no charlatan. But I want to remind everybody the same folk that tried to pull this mess are the same people that voted for Herschel Walker, who don't have a damn degree and lied about going to University of Georgia.
Oh, the people pulling the mess also voted for Herschel Walker, he says. Okay. And all right. I mean, yeah, Herschel Walker, was he running? He was running for governor. It was a world-class fucking moron, that Herschel Walker. I mean, like CTE on top of probably
So those are the folks we're talking about.
Okay, so he's reacting. He seems to have spirited defense of his qualifications. If we scroll down, oh, for fuck's sake, fucking YouTube. Let's go to the comments. Let's see, just a bit of the comments here. These are the newest. Wow, what a fraud. Yet he still has what the hell? That's not. Yeah, okay, it is. Yet he still has 1.3 million subs. I doubt many people watch him for his degrees or lack thereof. Clark is a wonderful HBCU. Never forget that fact. What doctor? What doctor, professor, veteran, scientist, etc., etc. It is crazy. Dude is weird. All this word salad for foreign degrees. Doc, you are the GOAT. Someone says the guy at the end is a fine one. I have seen other comments say how attractive Jackson White is too. And yet another thing I am jealous about. He has zero shame. Yeah. So person here says there's no date on the Dartmouth admission letter. All university admission letters have dates. And so you get a lot of investigations happening in the comments. But overall though, there wasn't a lot of positives in terms of people. And it's just because someone's commenting doesn't mean they're his audience, right? You do see people say stuff like, I'm a big fan of yours, but this is concerning. And, oh my God, I can't believe it fell for, stuff like that. But then Cam, in his industriousness, produced a response video very quickly. So Rashad's first response was posted on, I think, the 1st. Let's get the date. December 31st. Remember, Cam's was the 30th. Rashad answers on the 31st. Now Cam has a response on the 2nd of January. So this was all happening, and I was kind of paying attention to this. I saw Cam's video before he posted the second one. So this is titled Exposing Rashad Richey Part 2, The Scam University and Fake Investigation Firm. I'll just play the beginning here. Please, again, as always. Wait, why am I not subscribed? Oh, I am. I didn't subscribe to Crash Outs. He's got 2 channels that you subscribe to. I knew it because I had subscribed. I was going to be annoyed if YouTube unsubscribed me.
Yes, I talked about the many, many fake degrees of Rashad Richey.
Sorry, we're going to back up to the beginning.
In the first part of this series, I guess, I talked about the many, many fake degrees of Rashad Richey, a political media figure who's been prominent in the YouTube and larger Black political landscape for years. He works with the Young Turks network and broadcasts progressive debates and opinion pieces, as well as top Karen of the Year segments, important political discussions like that.
We should do a cartoon called The Karen Bears, where it's the Care Bears, but they're just a bunch of upset white ladies at Costco being racists.
I joke. I actually ran down his accolades at the top of my previous piece on him, which is what brings us here today. After covering all the programs he's appeared on and the Southeast Regional Emmy that he was nominated for, among other things, I moved into all the lying. And there's a lot of it. Since I gave him a heads up that piece was coming out 48 hours before releasing it, which is standard for journalistic publications, he responded with a full edited TV segment the day after I released it, defending himself against my allegations. He didn't call me out by name, but my piece came out the day before and got 100,000 views, so.
Called Cam out for voting for Herschel Walker. Does he even know that? What the hell?
I think I'm good in estimating that I was the reason he was making it. Yeah. He really tried his best to defend the indefensible with painstaking details, but it was very inadequate in my opinion, and I'm going to show y'all why.
So he's tightening his zoom in there. He's push zooming in on this IJSR, which is the International Journal of Science and Research. And I think he's focusing on that because it's like Dr. Richey owns that. That's his thing. And that video we looked at before is this is the quantum brain device unveiled video, is on the International Journal of Science and Research YouTube channel, 329 views. So this is why Cam edited it like that.
Why? There's actually a long list of things I called him out for that he didn't defend in that piece or even bring up because he didn't watch my video before making that response. Unfortunately, that was a mistake. Here's the claims I made that he didn't address, just so we get those out the way. IIC University, where he got that neurophysics degree, IIC University of Technology doesn't have a neurophysics graduate program. They literally only teach information systems. And most of the site is in Cambodian, fam. How many languages do you know? European American University.
Now, a little pop-up said Khmer, which is the language, I guess.
Who he got several degrees through via John Kersey, a conservative who has a chain of fake degrees and fake things assigned to his name as well, as I reviewed in the first video. Also another fake degree. The Asia Pacific School of Business.
By the way, I'm an arch podcaster now, so please refer to me as such by the title imposed upon me by the king. I am a knighted arch podcaster.
Used to claim a degree from this one as
called me Admiral Comedian. Got my degree in Admiralty from the Burger King drive-thru.
Well, that is also a fake school, as I reviewed in the first part. He didn't mention this. His degree from the Schofield Seminary. This is a neighborhood church that I reviewed in the first part as well. He's claimed all of these.
It's just like a small-ass church, like a kind of old building, sort of, ugly, dumpy church. Like, there's a million of these all over the country. We should tax the fucking churches. Can we cut this bullshit? America, come on.
Degrees and accomplishments on his LinkedIn and on the description for the Fairness Firm, a firm he created as a person who doesn't practice law because he hasn't passed the bar. I also mentioned his quantum physics book.
His book is titled Ancient Egyptian Mastery of Quantum Physics, Vibratory Frequency, and Geometric Sciences. Dr. Rashad Richey. For some reason, it's not centered in that gold stripe. Maybe that's an intentional graphic design choice. Subheading, an overview of complex scientific applications in ancient cultures. Hey, maybe they did have some stuff to teach us about quantum something back then. I mean that with mostly sincerity. Like, there's a lot of stuff that is tragically never going to be understood. The burning of the Alexandria Library. There's I think it's Cambodia. I'm sure I'm getting it wrong, but there's like this ancient library with all these old scrolls, and they've only been able to go through like a tiny percentage of them, and they're just massive. But very intelligent people, and they didn't have their phones and their brains all rattled by their phones back then, like we do today. So they had a lot of time to come up with some pretty cool stuff. So who knows? Maybe they were reaching for flasks of bubbling blue liquid, just like top scientists do today.
And his cure for Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Dr. Richey is the patent holder for the neurological brain entrainment device.
He doesn't hold a patent. We've been over this. Listening to this video's narration.
I don't know why I love the quantum brain helmet, the quantum Alzheimer's helmet. I could take a moral stance, taking advantage of people suffering, trying to tap into the Alzheimer's market. That's a pretty low level shit, man. That is one of the worst type of illnesses families deal with, and it is rough. It is hard going. It is not, even if you have all the resources and the time in the world to help with people, that is a difficult lift for everybody involved. Not just the patient, the whole family, so if you're trying to score, and I don't know if he's selling it, I don't think it's like on the market or something, but it's, at least it's being used to buttress his, or burnish his academics credibility and all that other stuff. So maybe that, again, maybe it's legit. And if I can get my brother's input, he's not the authority on it either, obviously, but he'll definitely have a much more precise, insights than I will on this kind of stuff. But okay, all right. This is a little bit more of this, so we'll pick one spot up ahead, and I don't want to use up too much Cam's video.
Made it kind of clear that, in my opinion,
that's the stuff I was looking for. Spinning blue brain. I need my brother to tell me if is this what neuroscientists do? A wall, a big screen, touching a brain. It's very stock footage looking kind of thing, and it looks like the guy has some kind of helmet thing on. Maybe he's in VR.
He's using AI to craft these stories in the first place, and then putting AI voiceovers on his own videos. Both of those things were in my first installment, and neither of them appeared in his response video. So that is all the things that I alleged that he had no response for and no answer for. Now, let's move into the things he tried to defend in his response. I'm going to point out why each and every one of them doesn't hold up in the light. But first, I have to start with a school I didn't even mention in my first video, Clark Atlanta University. I didn't bring that up in part one because I never said it was a lie. I told him at the end of the video that he has 2 degrees at best, and I meant advanced degrees. I was never concerned about his bachelor's degrees or any associate's degrees he might have. None of that was even on my radar. I saw it on the listings, but that was not something I was looking to challenge. So that's not really up for debate here. Clark Atlanta's
That's interesting. You know, one of the ways that let's let him say this here.
is actually one of the only schools that he has pictures of that he attended and graduated from for sure, where he has a degree on the wall. Unfortunately, there's a problem when it comes to this Clark Atlanta University mention, right? He mentions that he published his dissertation in a journal called the International Journal of Science and Research.
Okay, this is
In part 1, I broke down how this is a predatory journal that is not peer-reviewed and not double-blind in any way. Sounds legit, but it pretends to be a scientific journal. We know this because of this impact score on top of the page. Those scores are given out by the Web of Science organization, and they have a searchable database. That journal doesn't show up. So this score is completely fabricated. It's listed by an independent organization that finds and lists and evaluates predatory journals. This journal has very aggressive solicitation, meaning they're thirsty for submissions and they're asking for them all the time.
I'm thirsty for likes and subscribes, guys, by the way. You know what to do. Smash that notification button. Yeah, okay, so the IJS science and research thing is interesting. Cam does a great job. Like these are very watchable videos, meaning your attention is held in a way, in a good way. I mean, what was I going to say though? The journals, fake scientific journals. Oh man, I had a great point. I remember now. One of the things, if somehow I manage to get, have Cam on, or I can talk to him at some point. Because actually, just spoiler alert, and he's been saying this, he's now moved on to doing an expose about the Young Turks. He's doing something about TYT, and that's super interesting. So we'll be really curious, because I actually reached out via super chat during a live stream that he did, mentioning the documentary and saying, I've got some stuff you might want to look at. I didn't put it that way, but he seemed interested. He's interested. So there's a good chance that this is going to affect my project in terms of bringing some attention to it. And I'm sure Cam and I would probably have a great conversation about media and credibility and stuff, all the kind of stuff I've been talking about. And so one of the things I was thinking about, like in terms of this whole point he just made about mentioning Clark Atlanta, because that's seems to be legit and true. And it's important that we give Rashad his flowers for being a doctor of education. But like, in Photoshop, I will use invert a lot, which is just a way to like switch the color values and the light value to the reverse, and it just makes the image look crazy. But it's helpful sometimes if you're lining things up, or for various reasons. Sometimes I just use invert. It's Control I at my editing projects and stuff, and it's basically like, so the inversion of that in terms of this project, or in terms of this story, is what's true. Instead of asking Cam, hey, tell me all the stuff that's wrong, let's talk about what's accurate. Tell me what is true here. So we'll map the stuff that's inaccurate by looking at what's accurate. Like carving it's like when they draw someone or something, and you just draw the shadow, and then what emerges from drawing shadows becomes someone's hand or someone's face, or a tree, or a 40-pound bag of chicken McNuggets you scammed out of KFC, So I think like it'd be kind of interesting to say like, okay, so here's all of his claims, and to be fair, here's what's true. These ideally, the claims and the true statements should match up. And if there's a slight discrepancy, that's also another way to say, well, I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's hard to know of everything being accurate if it's 98% right. What are we going to do? Take the guy down for something that's we're not all totally sure about? But if it's a huge discrepancy, which it seems like it very much is. So anyway, I'm just kind of curious to maybe get into that. But he also reveals that Dr. Richey had started a school that was selling academic mills. Richey created a fake university.
Now that we've gotten through all the things he put in his response video and debunked each and every one, I'm going to drop another fact that y'all didn't know about Rashad. I held this one back from video 1 because I was being nice. Rashad Richey created his own fake college. Yeah, in 2024, he created a college called St. Magnus. Trust me, I was just as shocked as y'all. Check out the name of the university.
By the way, my doctorate in quantum downloading Pokemon memes is from St. Magnus. I'm a professor of economical Pokemon memes from the Magnus University and I bought it at the Subway drive-through.
St. Magnus University of Science and Research. Does that ring a bell? He's gotten so many fake degrees at this point, it's almost like he took a note out of John Kersey's book and decided that he needs to get on the scam at the top level. This bio is in the Hall of Fame of overcompensation. I promise y'all are not ready for this. Kersey has a stack of overlapping doctorates, chancellor and professor positions at the same fake colleges Rashad Richey got his degrees from, light bulb, archbishop positions, and he named himself royalty in Europe. Published hella.
Now he's showing his old video for you audio only people. He's referring back to his first video. That's why we're hearing this again on this podcast.
Books himself via the European American press, has multiple knighthoods, is a colonel, admiral, and lieutenant colonel in several American states, and got a Lifetime Achievement Award from President Obama in 2014. Surprise, surprise. Here's the site via the Wayback Machine, so the pictures are going to be knocked off, but all the information is still there. It's registered in 2024. Scroll down just a little bit and you see 4 black people, 2 of them who appear to be related, who are all running a diploma mill.
So it says at the top of this site, he's showing an image of the founders or, the people from the diploma mill he's referring to that Dr. Richey seems to have started. It says, our approach combines high quality with affordability. Does it accept? Do you take Discover?
Or at least trying to. I don't think this one successfully got off the ground, but all 4 of these people are added to the list of academic scammers now. Here's the registered owner, which is himself and 2 other companies he owns at the same address. I don't know why he thought he'd get away with that. And here's where they were offering courses in shit like the biophysics of ethereal healing.
Hey, I could use a little biophysical ethereal healing right about now. So, Dr. Richey responded. He put out a video within another day, and his emotional register was now amped up a bit more. Clearly, the guy seems to be in defensive mode, and to be fair, I don't blame him. He's got his reputation to defend, and he's, clearly staked a lot of his life and career on making sure people recognize him and his accomplishments and laud him for the, his contributions to human intelligence and letters and scholarship and law and physics and quantum something. And, so, okay, defend yourself. That's fine. There are some options in terms of responding to these things. One of my jokes about my project is that the only lawyer I can afford is Barbara Streisand, in terms of the Streisand effect, as I'm sure you know, but for those that don't, she's a famous old lady who our dads wished they had married in the 80s. No, she's a super famous actor way back. I don't know, probably died of old age, might be alive still of old age. I don't know, but something to do with her house, and like they didn't want people to know where it was because of some publication. So she sued them. And then because of the lawsuit, everybody found out about it because of that. So it's called the Streisand effect. And that's actually relevant to my project with the Young Turks, is that they haven't said shit about the project. They got a former longtime employee and longtime paying fan who worked there making a detailed documentary, calling them liars, saying that they're lying, saying that, detailing all the ethical violations that they went, and being very, upfront about it with heavy research and high quality video, documentary. And they've said nothing. It's been brought up to Francesca brought it up to Cenk, or not it, but she brought my name up, and he had this crazy maniacal, evil laugh, which I know you've seen if you're already familiar with my stuff.
There are so many former TYT employees, and let's put Doran Rubin aside, but people like Ben Dixon and Emma Vigland, and even longtime contributors who were editors like Hank. I remember Hank, and like the fact that, he helped start the TYT union and now has obviously
nothing.
Okay, but I knew Hank was such a great guy, and Emma and Ben are such. I'm just saying. I'm telling you, these are. But okay, how? I'm afraid, man. Like I'm next. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do. That I'm booted out of the castle.
Yeah, he didn't have that was about the only reaction that he's had in terms of responding. But they know that if they talk about it, it'll bring attention. And you'd think that they would want to. I'm sure Cenk probably, his constant bragging about being unafraid of anybody. He's the tough guy. He's willing to stand up for everybody. He fights for the little guy and all this and that. And except he's terrified to talk to Sam Cedar on the Majority Report, even though they have an open invitation. And, he has said literally nothing at all about my project. You'd think he'd want to defend himself if he could and if he wanted to, because he knows I got him. He knows what's he going to do? How's he going to defend calling someone part-time while they work 40-hour weeks? How's he going to defend saying, explaining that the workers actually started a union 18 months before he became a politician, and despite that, he still told his audience that the political machinery of Washington put out or started the union to harm his run for Congress? What's he got? He's got nothing. So he's got his only option is to be quiet, unlike Dr. Richey. So in the response video, Dr. Richey threatens to sue. Dr. Richey says, and I'd show you clips of it, or I'd show you it right now, but it was taken down. This is a generic video, unavailable, but on YouTube, it was up for about, I don't know, under 24 hours or something like that. So he posted his second response within a day or so of Cam's second part of part 2 from Cam, and now it's gone. And in it though, twice he says once he says you are being sued. Letters are going to go out soon, and then he also reiterates it at the end. But someone with the internet connection managed to capture some of it. So it's also on the Vanguard. Actually, I think they took it down during the Vanguard stream when Vanguard was covering it, like the day after he posted or something. So we're going to take a look at 2 of those parts here real quick. These are on my Twitter. I write, you are being sued, in quotes. In a now deleted video, TYT's Dr. Rashad Richey announces he and the various educational institutions he attended are suing filmmaker researcher Cam James. Thank God I got his name right. For recent exposés about his numerous advanced degrees, calling James's work, quote, malicious lies. And then, of course, eyes emoji. Here's Dr. Richey.
Let's go to accreditation. It has been said that the school is accredited. Let me do this. Put up the attorneys for me.
He can't help himself.
All right. So for those who have spread these malicious lies, those are the people, you're looking at them, who will be in touch with you because they are analyzing all of the information, and you will be. So
it's an ad for some attorney thing. There's a phone number. Nobody contact anybody. I guess that's already happened with these. Don't do that. That's stupid. What are you doing? None of that. But so it's some group of attorneys. It's a photo of a bunch of people in suits, a mix of people standing there. Whether or not that's a legit law firm, I don't know. I have no idea. But so he's putting up what looks like a screenshot from a website of his attorneys to threaten a lawsuit. If Cenk did this to my project, it would, Cenk, please, for the love of God, could you? My lawyer Barbara Streisand should send you a request form to do it.
Be receiving a letter this week, if not this week.
You know what? I was actually really nervous about defamation when I was working on my film and doing, I'm still working on it, but I looked into defamation very carefully. And the more I learned about it, the more I realized I would be the one to sue them for defamation. But, that's complicated in a lot of ways. But yeah, public figures have a much higher standard for defamation for like a politician. If you post something that's untrue about a politician, you're, it's harder to call that defamation than if it's your neighbor and you post something untrue about your neighbor, for instance. So private individuals who aren't in the public eye have a slower standard or higher standard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so like so he's telling Cam, and he's using the word. So if you're not super familiar with defamation, there's also libel and slander, which I think are like subsets. One's spoken, one's written. It has to be that you are lying on purpose with the intention to cause harm. And the two words that will sort of signal someone is talking about defamation. In fact, I have a video, or I'm not going to play it now, but it's something I found in the research for the film when Anna Kasparian, when she was reacting to the terrible slanderous, smearful reporting that the New York Times did about Cenk's interview with David Duke. It's a big sequence in the movie. It's at the end of the first 46 minutes. That's in the ethical dark web sequence. Anna was she was saying intentional and malicious. She said that a couple of times. Intentional and malicious. So the two buzzwords are intentional and malicious. If someone's trying to threaten defamation without saying the word defamation. Yeah. So like I could argue Cenk intentionally lied about me and my friends in terms of what the union busting or how the union got started, because he was intending to deceive his audience about the origins, because he was intending to hide the exploitative working conditions that drove us to unionize, because it would unveil a much bigger truth about Cenk, that he doesn't live the principles that his audience thinks they support. He doesn't give a shit if people have health insurance. And I know that because I said, can I have health insurance? And his answer was no. Paraphrasing, it went through HR to do that. But, you know, dude called me part-time while I'm working 40-hour weeks. So they had intended, you know, but whatever. We're not trying to persecute some sort of defamation thing here, but I feel very safe in terms of me, being charged with some sort of defamation, because I know I'm not lying and I'm talking about a story I lived directly. And I also have all the receipts that show it. You don't just have to assume that I'm being honest. Fucking autistic. I have the kind of honesty that ruins lives. I'm almost incapable. And obviously everybody's, I think, capable of lying, but like, it's like, I wish I wasn't as honest as I am. It's not been well for me. That's why comedian and podcaster are probably like the two things I could possibly do for a living. And I'm even terrible at both of those. Good thing I'm excellent at being a very tall, nice man. Green flag.
Next week, you are being sued.
Oh, wait, all right. Let me back up. I really got in the way of that. So he brings it up, put up on screen.
All of the information, and you will be receiving a letter this week. If not this week, next week. You are being sued. Not only are you being sued by me, you're being sued by others. The institutions that you decided to defame are suing you as well. I'm giving you fair notice, fair warning. I'm sure I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I am.
Barbara Streisand's ghost just had shuddered. Like, she shows up every night. Do not bring it up. Trust me. Let me take you through what happens if you do threaten to sue. That's my Barbara Streisand impression. It's pretty good. Yeah, he threatens to. I don't think that's even a threat. I think that's an announcement. I think that's more than a threat. Isn't a threat like I might do it? This is like I am doing this thing. So I don't know if this is true or not. Cam James did a live stream where he talked about this a bunch. I guess there's some sort of insurance. I didn't even know about that. So he has some kind of insurance, and, you know, the audience was very supportive and showing a lot of solidarity and backup to him. And so he'll probably be fine. And of course, everybody says in the comments, like, Discovery is, this guy ain't going to sue. This Discovery means you have to actually bring the receipts for everything. And that's where these kinds of, that's what makes or breaks that sort of thing. So a little more to this, and then there's another one to play.
Accreditation. Paris Graduate School is a college registered.
So that's him. Oh, shit. I keep pressing spacebar. So that's him getting back to it. That's why he's just staring at the camera. We'll just do this one last.
Doing you as well. I'm giving you fair notice, fair warning. I'm sure I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I am. It's careless.
Careless.
Accreditation. Paris Graduate School is a college registered with the French Ministry of Education. That's the government again. Approved by Bureau de Certification International and Qualipo.
Qualipo.
Let's go to
it. Says Qualiopi or something. He doesn't even pronounce that. It's Qualiopi. He said Qualipo. To be fair, let's just grant more good faith than he deserves. Being on camera and reading and looking down and then looking up, maybe he's got some eyesight. Sometimes it's not that easy to pick up a word, especially kind of a weird word. I'll grant someone a little space, but I have seen comments. People say a lot of times that he struggles to pronounce words and stuff like that. Does that indicate lack of intelligence? I think it's a little snobby to say yes to that. But someone with, 1,700 advanced degrees and is curing Alzheimer's with helmets, probably I would assume they know how to pronounce words generally. But you know, I'd make space if Einstein struggled with stuff. You know, I was just about to have Einstein mispronouncing the word orgasm for some reason. That's where my okay. So here's the other. This is the way this episode ended. This one is kind of entertaining for the way it ends. So in the first one, it goes to Jackson White, and it's like, that guy doesn't need to be involved. What are you throwing to him for? So that he has to, what's he supposed to say? I don't know, man. It doesn't seem all that true. Like, of course he's going to say some supportive shit, but that's a pretty uncomfortable position to put another person who's not involved with it. So, I mean, so keep that in mind as we get to the end of this in about 5 hours, because I'm sure I'm going to interrupt it. So it says it's a 2-minute video. The Young Turks host, this is what I wrote. The Young Turks host, Dr. Rashad Richey, ends his response to filmmaker Cam James's recent exposés by reiterating his commitment to pursue legal action, lauding his transparency in a now deleted video. Blink, blink. Blink, blink. Lauding his transparency in a now deleted video. Quote, "They won't be this transparent with you on any day, but see, I give a damn." So he's exceptional in his transparency because he cares, only to then go and delete the video within hours. Fuck off, man. Anyway, all right, here we go.
I have a master's of science in agronomical physics. I don't think that's in question.
Nope.
I have published research there. I have my bachelor from Beulah Heights University. I don't think that's in question. Let's put it the attorneys again.
There we go.
I want to say a big thank you to Stacey Evans and her legal team for jumping on top of this immediately. They worked over the weekend. They could not believe that somebody was doing this intentionally.
You hear that, Cam? His attorneys couldn't believe it. Stacey's saying, "Oh man, I just can't believe he's doing it." Weekend.
I wanted to believe it was being done out of a good faith effort to try to find something, and you made a mistake. I no longer believe that. I think this was intentionally done.
Intentionally. Now, he said it twice.
I've provided quite compelling proof and transparency. The real requirement is, if you believed I had no qualifying degrees in the subjects I teach, call the universities. Ask them, because that's the standard for every other professor. They don't come and show their transcripts to you, but I did. I guarantee you the people who have criticized me for just simply going to college and learning.
I'm not quite sure that's an accurate description of the criticisms, Dr. Richey. You're a journalist, aren't you? They aren't. Cam's point wasn't, can you believe this guy went and learned? Look at this asshole learning. I'm making videos about him because he went to learn something. Nobody's doing that. That's called straw manning. Did he go to the Cenk Uyghur Graduate School of Strawman Education? Because that's what that is. That's gaslighting, and that's bullshit. That's not at all what Cam is doing or anybody's doing in this whole story. That's BS, man. If you believe that I'm getting criticized for learning, give me a break, dude. Come on. Let me back it up this a little bit, though.
They don't come and show their transcripts to you, but I did. I guarantee you the people who have criticized me for just simply going to college and learning, they won't show you their transcript. They won't be this transparent with you on any day. But see, I give a damn.
He's transparent.
All right. Jasmine, thoughts here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, what else is there to say? You were so thorough with all of this.
Leave her out of it. It's not her deal. What? This is just, I just find that part kind of ugly, man. Come on. I've seen her a bunch. She's on TYT. She's very steady. She's nice. She does a good job. She's good. But she's got to throw in and help out with this whole weird project here.
I think it's just sad that people can spin an entire narrative whenever the actual information is so readily available, and you did such a good job of laying it all out. It really is just like a waste of everyone's time that we had to do this, that you're being put through this, that you now have to take legal action against the people who are doing this to you. So I wish you all the best in the proceedings. And what else is there to say? You've said it all.
There it is.
She's a pro. She did it. And actually, the waste of time thing made me think of just It is a waste of time to have to do this. I feel that way about my project because it's a waste of time that Cenk initiated it. Cenk is the one whose agency, whose decisions he had the power to started this process when I showed up to work for him, and they brought me back to work for them because they already knew me. And, you know, as a full-time video editor, and called me an independent contractor. Cenk initiated this whole process. I didn't take the initiative to start it. I was more than fucking happy to just leave working for somewhere and move on and deal with, you know, I tried to start a woodworking YouTube channel, Bum Rush Industries, really good videos. Then I got a job at a woodworking place and I fucked up my wrists. You can see my hand. I always like to point out my mallet behind me. You know, I was happy to like leave this behind me, but the guy lied about me and my friends and never corrected it. And it's, so that's what set off this whole process of starting off this, my thing, and it's exhausting. But the waste of time, and I'm not saying this to like take on Yaz here or whatever, but like similarly though, the waste of time in this story is Dr. Richey's agency, his will, meaning he chose to present himself as a person with 11 degrees or 14 degrees, or however many degrees it is. Right? Great point, Hank. You nailed it. So that's super interesting, though. Whether that's actually a real lawsuit, I don't know. I suspect not. I feel like that's not at all, but maybe it is. I mean, maybe the lawyer said, dude, what are you doing? Putting our phone number on the thing? Like announcing it? Like what? This is dumb. Why would you? So, I don't know where it's going to end up. We'll see. We'll see if Cam James, you know, but he's now going to be doing something about the Young Turks, which I'm excited about, obviously. I know he's going to be showing some of my work and, you know, the union situation is relevant. Yeah. And probably stuff about Hassan. There's all sorts of stuff there. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to keep an eye on this whole story. And if you're still not totally sick of it all, I highly recommend this. Medium, which is a blogging platform like Substack, but somebody, Fazer Domino, Fazer, wrote, Dr. Rashad Richey, Say It Ain't So, mistaking actors for leaders. It's a really worthwhile read, though. He cites Cam's work and kind of gets into it, but it's a nice, thoughtful piece about the role that Dr. Richey's playing and the way that people use credibility and degrees and all this stuff. So I'm not going to I'm doing a terrible job summarizing it, but I found it's a compelling read and it had some interesting insights and some interesting and thoughtful angles to it. So you look for Dr. Rashad Richey, Say It Ain't So, Mistaking Actors for Leaders, if you want to look that up. Just type in Fazer, Dr. Rashad Richey, and you should be able to find it. Fazer. Yeah, fascinating, really interesting. And so, you know, we'll keep an eye on it. Obviously, you can find more from me, but, you know, more than likely it'll be like 6 months before I finally get around to doing another podcast because I suck at this. But obviously, I'm paying close attention to it. And hopefully there's some attention brought to my project. And I think Cam has done a lot of really good work. And he's, you know, he seems to have a nice big solidarity wind of people in the comments supporting him. Yeah, the comments are actually super interesting in these posts. Let's see. This is Cam's video. Top comments. Someone writes, bro, journals aren't double blind. Studies are. He doesn't even know enough about scientific research to fake it. Another one. As someone who's earned a PhD in biochemistry through kidney failure dialysis, I have no respect for people who buy worthless pieces of paper from diploma mills and pretend to have done the work of an actual scholar. Here's another one. A journal with a Gmail account. How does he figure he's going to pass an American bar exam by studying Haitian law? He won't sue for quote unquote defamation because there will be high pitched voice discovery. Sorry, I had to stay on these scammers' necks, bruh. Someone writes. He got C's in math, but has a PhD in quantum physics? ? Yeah, so people aren't buying it, and even on his own videos, there's a lot of people supporting. A lot of people, you know, he's popular enough to have a fan base that wants to circle the wagons and protect them and stuff. And that's okay too. I think that's just kind of the way people are. But yeah, all right. Well, God, 2 hours, 28 minutes. Fucking goddamn it. So this is a long one. I was really going to do this in an hour. Why do I always think I can do that? You could get a Bachelor of Science in Business Management, concentration, faith-centric operations. I have a bachelor's in science and running a church. Come on. Kiss my ass, man. Bachelor of Arts by Research? This is nuts. Psychology of Faith? This is, okay, all right. This is just a screenshot of the fake university that Cam was pointing out. So, okay, guys, that's it. Check out the channel, tellthetruthjank.com. If you'd like to sign up for the email. Again, I'm not going to send, I don't have a schedule. I don't even know what, it's not like I have monthly, but I might do monthly at most, or, if not at most, but like maybe, sudden new something, might be a reason to not do it every month. I don't want to violate someone. But I'm not here to blow up anybody's inbox. It's me we're talking about. You think I got the fucking energy to do this? Bother you with some weird shit about your email? But if you do want to keep up with the project, because this is a powerful part of building an audience that has enough interest to want to keep up to speed with things without having to, do it themselves, I will send you emails every once in a while. And it all goes into a secure spot. And it's, yeah. And it's also a nice purple button. I'm really proud of the purple. So why does that make me so happy? But very good. Very good. More to come. Much more to come. And if you're new to this whole project, I always try to point people to the sources on the website, because this is like third-party stuff. Of course, I have a link to my Substacks as well. But, you can see the various things related to this whole story. Just the fact that TYT Union's Twitter account still has the entire fight still on their page shows that a intense union busting campaign occurred, even though Cenk told multiple different parties that nothing even like union busting happened. He said it was a giant miscommunication on the Revolutionary Change podcast.